Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I decided I wasn't going to unplug the thing. If you watched my last video, you know what I'll be talking about. Of course, this is going to be posted a day later. We're posting this one on the day my brother's going to be born. My mom's inducing on the 29th. As you can see, it's 25th, so I'm trying to get a bunch of recordings out so I can spend time with my brother. What the hell is my mouse doing? Never mind. Okay. Apparently, I thought it was going to be the start of season 3. Jesus, stop! Okay. I thought it was going to be the start of season 3, but it's obviously not. It's season 2, chapter 18. I should probably read what we're doing today. Today we are reading His Reasons. It's a Todoroki X Reader fanfic by AshleyH713. I'm eager to get this done because I'm tired. I'd like sleep tonight. I haven't done that in so long. And the last one, I'm going to put a little summary because I don't know why. I really don't know why. They went to the mall. Bakugo pretty much told her that she accepted her, or that he accepted her. Never. Yeah. She shouted it to the mall. They found a group of friends. She decided she's gonna get food, and now shit's gonna happen. Obviously, shit's gonna happen. It's always gotta happen at the worst possible times. This is part 18. Did I say that already? This is part 18. We're reading season 2, chapter 18. Let's begin before I ramble on. Season 2, chapter 18. Humming happily through the mall, Amari was on her way towards the pencil stand when she couldn't help but think about the words her brother had said to her a couple moments before. It honestly felt like a dream. One she very clearly didn't want to wake up from. Katsuki Bakugo wasn't ashamed of her anymore. Somewhere down the road, she finally became strong enough for him. It was the best feeling ever. Taking a quick right, she paused when Amari caught the glimpse of a very familiar splotch of green and stopped. It was Deku. What was he doing at the mall today? Where the hell did my mouse go? Right there. He seemed to be sitting down next to a nearby fountain, away from everyone else. Maybe he was thinking about something really important or something. It was kind of strange. Amari then quickly gave up on her dreams of a giant pencil for now and found herself moving over to him instead. Putting her hand up, she smiled at the boy again, gaining his attention. Hey Midoriya, nice to see you here. What are you doing here? Deku's head sprung to life at her voice, jumping slightly from surprise. Oh, hey, Amari-chan. It's nice to see you too. I'm just starting to think about the things we need to bring for the upcoming training camp. Don't want to forget anything. She nodded her head, pointing to the upper level when she noticed. Did you come with the rest of the class by any chance? He replied shortly. Yeah, how'd you know? Crossing her arms around her body, Amari answered. Oh, well, I just saw them, actually. Katsuki's with them right now. We thought we'd join you, if that's alright. I don't want to intrude. Although Deku was more than happy with the idea. Oh, yeah, sure. I was just thinking about something. I'll join you all soon. His words seemed odd, especially to Amari. He seemed bothered by something. Moving towards him, she sat down before answering. Hey, are you okay? If you need someone to talk to, I'm here to listen. Deku's eyes fell, thinking that her offer was sweet, but knew that there was no way he could talk to her about these things. The words between All Might and him were secret, and he didn't want to break that trust. Thanks, but I'm okay, really. I guess I'm just thinking about what happened back in Hosa. At the name, Mari's eyes turned into an unreadable emotion. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. I just couldn't find the right moment yet. Deku turned his head to hers at that, taking in her conflict. Suddenly, his mind flashed back to her shaking in fear at the hospital. He always wondered what that was. I'm listening now. Just need the table. Smiling to herself, Amari thought for a moment before taking a large breath. You're close to All Might, right? At the accusation, Deku's whole entire body grew numb, so much so his voice began to shake. What? I don't know what you're talking about. He's just our teacher, and someone I look up to a whole lot. It's not like I have a special relationship or nothing. Or anything. Or nothing. His rambling made her laugh, slightly thinking that they shared similar traits. You don't have to say anything. I know you are something special to him. I'm not really sure what, but I know it's none of my business. That's not why I was asking. The explanation made him relax a bit, now knowing she wasn't going to grill him about his quirk or something. Why do you want to know about that, then? Mari took another moment of silence before speaking low and small. When I was taken away by the hero killer, he said something to me, something I didn't really understand. I was hoping you could tell All Might about it, just in case it's important. Deku felt himself lean in closer, noticing the girl grow a bit more uncomfortable. She must have been recalling the event that scared her. What did he say? Casting her eyes to his, she replied, "He said that we didn't know what was coming next. That the fool's secret weapon was going under our noses and we had no idea what it was." Her words sounded ominous, so much so that it made a sharp chill run up the boy's spine. Secret weapon? What was he talking about? Amari just shook her head. "I don't know either. I've been thinking about it for days, but I haven't found anything. He seemed to think that something big was coming. I'm not gonna lie, Midoriya, it scares me." Nodding his head, Deku couldn't help but agree. Did Stain know something that the two of them didn't? They couldn't even ask him anymore, either, because he was dead. "I know, it scares me too. I'll tell All Might. Maybe he'll know something about it." She seemed pleased with his choice, replying, "Thanks. I would tell him myself, but I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to even form a complete normal sentence. Katsuki and I really look up to All Might as kids, and I don't think I'd have the courage to actually talk to him without sounding like a complete idiot." He smiled at that, knowing very well that he was the exact same way. "I know what you mean. When I first met him, all I could do was cry. It was just that amazing. Still is." Amari laughed at that, picturing a very emotional Deku and a very confused All Might. "See, that's what I'm worried about. I already have enough embarrassment in my life. I don't need to add the number one hero onto that list. I'd never be able to live that down." Deku laughed back, understanding exactly what she meant when his stomach began to growl unexpectedly. He did skip lunch after all, although Amari could only smile, already raising from her seat. "I'm gonna go get myself one of those big pretzels. Would you like one? It's on me." Shaking his head, he put his hand out, embarrassed about the offer. "No, it's okay. You don't have to do that." Yet she only waved him off, already reaching for the money in her bag. "It's no big deal, really. You are saving me from having to talk to All Might and enduring months of embarrassment. The least I can do is buy you a pretzel." Her explanation made him pull his hand back, giving in slowly. "Only if you're sure." To which he replied, "Of course I'm sure. I wouldn't have offered if I didn't want to do it." Staring back at her, Deku could hardly believe that she was Bakugo's twin. She was really so kind and polite. Unlike her brother, who would have probably eaten the pretzel in front of him, knowing the boy was hungry. Watching her turn away, he sighed to himself about the idea. Her and Kachion really were different, although he was shortly shaken out of his own thoughts when a random arm slung around his shoulder. A stranger now only a few inches from him. "Hey, aren't you the kid from that sports festival?" Deku ignored the uncomfortable air and just smiled back, replying, "Oh, yeah, that's me." The stranger seemed excited about that, laughing joyfully as his hand lifted to meet the boy's throat, now catching a glimpse of who the stranger actually was. Shigaraki smiled at Deku, as Deku felt a cold chill run down his back. This was bad. This was very bad. "Can I get your autograph, hero?" Okay, gotta take water. After paying for the snacks, Mari moved back towards the fountain when she realized that someone was with Deku, although she couldn't tell exactly who it was. Moving closer, she called back cheerfully in their direction, "Midoriya, I got the pretzels." Both of their eyes met each other as Amari froze, now understanding exactly who was next to her friend. It was that villain from the USJ incident. Deku's scared expression met hers as he brokenly whispered out, "Go, run." To which Shigaraki laughed, now tapping his middle finger on the boy's throat in warning. "Oh, look who joined the party. Be careful now. We wouldn't want to have any casualties in the mall." She took another step closer at this, already eyeing the possibilities. He was right. She could say anything, or else she couldn't say anything, or else who knows how many people he would kill. Mari had to think about another way to get out of this, and fast. Let him go. Although the villain only smirked at that. "What, you think you are in the position to give me orders? Sorry, doll. It doesn't work like that. Also, aren't you supposed to be dead?" Shaking her head, Amari answered back, "Guess I'm just stubborn." The tapping of his finger started again, causing her to freeze. "I've seen you single-handedly ruin my little plan to kill All Might last time. Do you know how angry that makes me?" Amari replied back shortly, "I don't know. Maybe you should go see a therapist or something. Don't take it out on innocent people." Sucking in a breath. What the fuck was that? My lights just flickered. The hell was that? Did a fly flick my light switch? What was that? Gotta stop watching horror movies before I do stuff. Sucking in a breath, Shigaraki started to laugh at her words. "Doll, you are far from innocent. See, this is why you are so unbelievably annoying." She narrowed her eyes at his words, not fully understanding why he was insulting her right now. The only time they met was at the USJ incident. Then she realized that this wasn't the time to think about that. Amari needed to find out what he knew about Stain's cryptic words while she still could. Stain said something about having some kind of secret weapon. Whatever you're planning, we will stop you. At the name, the villain's face dropped. That good-for-nothing reject just couldn't keep his mouth shut, could he? Although the irony of your words is too good right now. Wouldn't you like to know? Deku chimed in, his voice raspy from the pressure on his throat. Why are you here, Shigaraki? Casting his eyes to the boy, the villain answered. So many questions today. No matter, I'll humor you. I just came to visit you two. You see, I have much to discuss with the girl. Mari felt a sharp chill run down her spine at his words. I have nothing to say to you, so you can forget it. I don't talk to villains. Although, this only made him chuckle, slowly rising from his seat while taking Deku with him. She watched him approach closer and closer. See, I didn't recognize it before, but after the big USJ failure, it finally clicked. Feeling her feet freeze to the floor, Shigaraki lifted his opposite hand up, touching a piece of her hair in warning. She couldn't help but feel her breath shallow. What are you even talking about? Running his fingers through the strands, Deku could see the poor girl getting more fearful by the second, like they were sharing some kind of conversation between them. Suddenly, Amari heard her brother's voice carrying through the mall, searching her out, and her heart stopped in her chest. She couldn't put him in danger, already knowing that Bakugo wouldn't be one for talking to a villain. Who knows how many casualties he would unknowingly cause. Shigaraki seemed to hear the voice as well, taunting the girl with it. Go on, aren't you going to call out for your dear brother to rescue you? Remaining silent at his words, the villain laughed. Never mind, I think we both know you wouldn't. You would rather die for him, wouldn't you? Deku watched Amari's face grow, even more sullen with each word the boy was saying. She looked like she was trying to keep herself together, although failing quickly. He didn't really like the idea of her dying for Kachan. Another moment of silence appeared before he spoke again, and this time it was a harsh whisper that cut through her entire body all at once. You're so easy to read, just like back then. His words were strange. They clearly hadn't met before the USJ incident. Why was he suddenly acting like he knew her so well? Turning her face into one of confusion, Amari answered, What? Stop lying. You don't know anything about me. But Shigaraki only smiled, as if he knew something she didn't. Oh, that's where you're wrong, doll. I know plenty. Like how you will do absolutely anything to earn your dear brother's love, and about how giving up is not an option for you. He took another step closer and whispered his next words, causing Amari's eyes to widen all at once. What was that phrase again? Ah, yes. Giving up is the same as dying. Shigaraki's words seeped into her skin all at once, causing Amari's breath to catch in her throat. How in the hell did he know about that phrase that followed her throughout her entire life in America? That was impossible. Feeling an overwhelming sense of anxiety, Amari completely forgot about Deku and reached out, grabbing the villain's collar roughly. She needed answers now. How do you know that? Her fear only caused him to laugh, though, taking in her confusion all at once and tightening his hold on Deku. Careful now, you wouldn't want to be responsible for the death of your little friend now, would you? At the slight pressure, Deku felt his breathing grow shorter, begging Amari to stop. Amari-chan. Amari's eyes then snapped out of her delusion and frantically traveled to her friend before freezing. That bastard was right. One move and he could kill Deku. She was being too careless. Her fingers began to loosen, but didn't pull away as Amari tried another approach. Where'd you hear that phrase? Tell me. Although Shigaraki didn't comply, only staring at her hands at his collar. Now it's not the time, and besides, you are in no position to be giving me orders. Think about the situation you're in right now. Jesus, my mouse has got to stop moving. He warningly tapped another finger on Deku's neck, and Amari took the threat, now letting go completely. This seemed to amuse him even more. Good girl. So you can listen. She glared back, forgetting about her own anxiety for a moment and focusing on the moment at hand. Shut up. You said you wanted to talk to me. Spit it out already so you can let go of Midoriya. Spit it out already so you can let Midoriya go. Shigaraki locked his eyes with the girl, then pointing a finger to her chest in warning. Do you know why I originally came here today? It was to kill you. A heavy weight suddenly appeared in Amari's chest at his words. She knew he had a vendetta against her because of the USJ fight, but she wasn't expecting this. Me? Nodding his head, his fingers traveled to her face in warning. You see, you are in my way. I don't need you. I will be the one to kill All Might. Killing you would be so much easier. Amari wasn't really following his words, and neither was Deku, as pulled against his captor in a desperate attempt to save her. Shigaraki noticed this though and frowned, lowering his head. But unfortunately, then he'll get mad at me. Narrowing her eyes, Amari was clearly overly confused by what he was saying. Hold on, what are you talking about? Who will get mad at you? Her confusion seemed to amuse the villain, though, speaking back smoothly. Of course you would be asking that. Let me ask you a question. Shigaraki then took another step closer in warning, letting his breath run against her neck like 1,000 pins and needles. How does it feel to not remember chunks of time? Does it scare you? Does it make you wonder what kind of terrible and cruel things you are capable of? I bet it keeps you up at night, not knowing exactly what you sacrificed. Mari's eyes widened at his words, suddenly feeling sick all at once. That was something she had never told anyone before. How on earth did he know? Something wasn't right here. He knew far more than before. Suddenly, Katsuki's voice grew closer, and then Shigaraki knew it was time to go. Ah, well, looks like our fun is over. I'll see you soon. Then in one motion, he let go of Deku's throat and slipped away into the darkness, causing him to gasp. Amari-chan, we have to call the police. Who knows who he could hurt next? Although the only response from the girl was a sullen, hollow expression, staring at nothing in particular. Amari-chan, are you okay? Just then, a loud voice caused her to jump out of her own delusion all at once. There you are, brat! Don't tell me you were hanging out with this damn nerd the whole time. Feeling her heart rate accelerate, Amari gasped, feeling her brother's hand on her shoulder. Hey, is anyone home? Why are you staring into space like that, stupid? He noticed her jumpy demeanor as she responded. Katsuki? Raising an eye in confusion, Bakugo replied, Yeah? What the hell is wrong with you? Noticing her breathing slightly irregular, her brother then looked down only to find that her hands were shaking. His voice grew softer then, reaching for her. Hey, did something happen? You're shaking. Amari gasped then, trying to cover her insecurity but failed miserably. She was shaken up by Shigaraki. Sorry, it's just... Another voice quickly entered the space to find Deku running up to her with the local police. Kachan, there you are. We have to lock down the mall. Shigaraki tried to attack Amari-chan and I. Bakugo felt his heart drop at Deku's words, now quickly turning back to his sister. Had she just faced a villain by herself without him again? Is that true? Nodding her head once, Katsuki felt an unnecessary heat rise up in his chest. How dare they try and attack his sister without him knowing? They must have had a death wish. Already getting his quirk ready, Bakugo turned away sharply. Where the hell is that bastard now? I'm going to kill him. Amari watched her brother's temper, but quickly froze when she remembered just how serious Shigaraki was. He could really well kill Bakugo, and she wasn't about to let that happen. Reaching forward, she grabbed his arm, causing him to stop all at once. Katsuki, wait, I'm fine, really. Please, just stay here. At her pleading, Katsuki froze, feeling an explosion diminish. She didn't look fine at all. Somewhere deep down, he knew he couldn't leave her alone right now. Deku watched the scene in awe, surprised that Amari was able to calm Kachan down like that. He usually was very stubborn. Then the boy couldn't help but recall the words Shigaraki said to them a couple moments ago. Something about them didn't sit right with him. It was like the villain knew Amari somehow, and from the reaction of the girl, she knew more as well. He really hated to think Amari was up to something devious, but that conversation couldn't help but put the idea in his mind. Maybe she knew more than he originally thought. Deku sighed to himself, already knowing he would have to tell All Might about his suspicions. Something wasn't right about this. After the event of the mall, Amari was taken into questioning by police before allowing her to go home. Both her parents and Bakugo were visibly worried about her, but she just assured them that she was fine, even though that wasn't really the case. She just didn't want them to worry about her needlessly. A couple hours later, Amari sat in her bed with 1,000 thoughts running through her head. It was really messing up her sleep schedule, and she just couldn't help but feel on the edge about what happened earlier. The problem was she needed answers, but it seemed no one could provide her with any. Without thinking, she picked up her phone only to somehow make her way to Todoroki's number. Why did she want to see him right now? As if on instinct, Amari felt her finger click on his number, now hearing the ring and immediately regretting her decision. She was about to hang up when his voice ran through her ear. He sounded groggy and half asleep. Shoot, she had woken him up. Amari? Trying to play it cool, she laughed back, maybe a bit too quickly. Oh, hey, Shoto, what are you doing? His voice returned confused. Sleeping? Feeling the embarrassment rise up, Amari knew she had to hang up as quickly as possible. Alright, that makes sense. Sorry, I'll let you go. I didn't mean to wake you up. She was already reaching for the button when his voice stopped her. It sounded like he was sitting up in his bed. No, it's alright. What did you want to talk about? The line paused for a moment before she realized she didn't really have a reason for calling him. She just wanted to hear his voice. Oh, it's nothing really. It can wait till tomorrow. Although Todoroki wasn't able to let her go that quickly, feeling something was off. Did something happen? Flashing back to Shigaraki, Amari felt an unwanted chill crawl up her spine. What? Why do you say that? She heard a small rustle through the phone before he replied. Where are you right now? Looking at her wall, Amari answered in confusion. At home? Why? His voice returned quick, as if he was rushing about something. I'll be right there. Then before she could answer, he hung up the phone. Wait, did he say he was coming here? That's not what she was expecting at all. Running quickly to her closet, Amari put on a large sweatshirt to cover her pajamas and combed her hair quickly before reaching her door. There was no way he was going to show up this late. A couple minutes passed when a soft knock could be heard on the surface, causing her to gasp. No way. Pulling open the surface, she found Todoroki staring at her, concerned. Shoto? What are you doing here? You really didn't have to come. It's late. He leaned a hand against her doorframe, breathing heavier than usual for some reason. Something happened, didn't it? Blinking in surprise, Amari replied. What? He then pulled out his phone, showing her the surface. You calling me in the middle of the night. It's not like you. What's wrong? Amari couldn't help but remain shocked at his expression. Was she really that easy to read? The fact that she wanted comfort right now. How did he know that? I get it. Fire, threat, protection, whatever the fuck it says. Letting her eyes fall, she pointed towards the street. Do you mind if we go for a walk? Katsuki and my parents are going to get mad if they know I'm up this late. Todoroki nodded his head and led her into the street, walking side by side slowly. I'm sorry about this. I know you were probably sleeping. Although the boy only responded by taking his hand into hers. Don't worry about me. You're more important. Now tell me what's wrong. She felt a soft blush appear on her cheeks at his words, squeezing his hand for comfort. I went to the mall with Katsuki today, and the villain from the USJ incident was there. Her words caused Todoroki to stop dead in his tracks, now a sense of anxiety in his chest. He wasn't expecting that kind of news. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Shaking her head, Amari replied, No, I'm okay. He said he only wanted to talk. Her eyes became distant then, as if she was recalling something. I have to tell you something. It's about my time in America. Todoroki nodded his head in response. What is it? Closing her eyes for a moment, Amari continued. Do you remember what I told you before about how I underwent dozens of high-level training and surgery so I could stand next to Katsuki? He recalled her words easily, nodding his head. I do. There was a small silence for a moment before Amari sucked in a breath, replying. That wasn't all of it. I was just too embarrassed to say the other part. His brow turned to one of confusion as she continued. The truth is, the memory of my time in America is very choppy. There are specific time gaps that I just can't remember. Blank spots in my mind I can't get back, no matter how hard I try. Staring at her hand, Amari sighed. The doc seems to think it's a side effect of my pills. Sometimes I'll get a certain flashes, or small bits of that. But that's about it, and none of them are pretty. Todoroki couldn't help but feel his own hands grow numb at her words. He couldn't even imagine living without part of his memory. What kind of terrible things had this girl lived through? Remaining silent, he let her continue. When I met the villain today, somehow he knew about my memory gaps, even though that's impossible. No one was supposed to know about that. Never mind a villain, he seemed to know things about me that I didn't, and it scared me. Something about this all didn't sit right with Todoroki, choosing to call her out on it. Where did you even get those pills anyway? Narrowing her eyes, Amari replied, I don't know. I remember that I was at the academy in America when a man said he could help me complete my goal. Had she really just accepted a stranger's help like that? That was the stupidest thing Todoroki had ever heard. Amari, please don't tell me you followed the stranger without knowing who he was. Shaking her head, Amari sighed. I was a stupid kid back then, okay? It's not like I regret it. Whatever he did gave me the opportunity to fight next to Katsuki, just like I always wanted. I would take it again in a heartbeat. Todoroki couldn't believe the lengths she went through, just to fight with her brother. She could have sold herself on the black market for all he knew, and the fact that a villain knew about her secrets wasn't a great sign either. None of this sounded good. Amari then lowered her voice, feeling a familiar chill in her spine. I'm grateful for the hope he gave me, but I still can't help but worry about what exactly happened back then. I just wish I could remember. Letting go of his hand, Amari wrapped her arms around herself, seeking comfort. The truth is, I'm scared, Shoto. Todoroki took in her feared expression before reaching his arms up and embracing the poor girl to his chest. It's all right. It's okay to feel scared. Either way, we will figure this out together, okay? She felt his warmth seep into her all at once, accepting the gesture and touching his back lightly. It felt nice to have someone there, but Amari couldn't help but worry that he didn't mean it. You don't think I'm stupid? Shaking his head against her own, he replied, Stupid is not the word I would use, but regardless of what happens, I'm not going anywhere. Feeling his heartbeat hammering in his chest, Amari buried her face into him, wanting to never leave his embrace ever again. Then maybe she wouldn't have to face any of her demons and fears. That would have been nice. She then smirked underneath his chest. You know, Shoto, Todoroki, you are a very dangerous man. Todoroki, narrowing his eyes in confusion, he didn't understand. Why is that? That's when she separated herself from him, staring at his two-toned eyes all at once. You're making me want more than what I can have. Brushing a couple fingers across his scar, Todoroki naturally closed his eyes at the contact. What do you mean? Her eyes saddened a bit then, letting her hand cup his cheek lovingly. You make me want to live forever. Todoroki's face fell as well as the painful truth started crashing down on him. He reached up and touched her cheek, his fingers running across the lines on her face. The last thing he wanted to think about was having to live in this world without her. Noticing his sullen stance, Mara realized she had broken the mood and immediately started to turn away, the heat rising up in her cheeks. Sorry, forget I said that. Moving back to her house, she froze when a familiar pair of hands wrapped around her stomach, pulling her back. Amari, wait. She touched it. What the heck? Why does my mouth... Okay. My mouse is moving on its own. It's starting to piss me off. She touched his hands lightly, but remained still as she listened to his words. I don't really know what I'm supposed to say, but if those are really your feelings, then you should continue pushing, though. Through. You don't give up on anything, right? Don't give up on this. He was using her own words against her, which made her frown. It's not that easy, Shoto. I shouldn't expect the impossible. Stop giving me hope. It's a cruel thing to do. This is enough. Although he didn't believe that in the slightest. Is it? Do you honestly believe that? Her face fell then, forcing his hands off her and turning around to meet his eyes once again. It has to be. Don't get me wrong, though. I'm grateful for every second of the day. I never thought someone would ever care about me the way you do. Flaws and all. I can never thank you enough. Rising to her toes, Amari then hoisted herself up before placing a soft kiss on his lips, surprising the boy in question all at once. He seemed overly flustered, which caused the girl to falter, wondering if she had misstepped in any way. I'm sorry. That was too forward, wasn't it? Taking in her nervous demeanor, the boy couldn't help but shake his head, lifting her chin up with two of his fingers and replying, Not at all. His breath caused a sharp shiver to run down her spine as he duplicated the action, leaning down and kissing her smoothly all at once. Amari closed her eyes at the action, taking in his scent mixed with the cool night air surrounding them. She carefully tried to capture this moment in his mind, as if it could last forever. His fingers ran through her hair as she lost herself in a cloudy moment of absolute bliss. His kiss was starting to become more aggressive, but it's not like she minded. She could feel him underneath her, hungry for her touch, so she had no choice but to comply. This kiss was far different than the others they had shared. It was like they both shared a feeling of desperation, knowing that their relationship wasn't meant to last forever. It became too intense that the two of them had to break away for a moment, feeling their chests recover from the loss of breath. Mari could only say one word because of it, still reeling from the moment. Wow. At her declaration, Todoroki's face began to flush, using his hand to cover his tingling lips. Of course, she just had to say the most embarrassing thing. Don't say that. As if she finally registered her words, Amari gasped, turning away as well. Never mind, sorry, it just kind of came out. Shaking his head in exasperation, he couldn't help but recall the first day of the opening ceremony. What am I going to do with you? Amari smiled awkwardly when her phone began to ring in her pocket. Looking down at the object, she pulled it out, only for her eyes to hollow. Oh no, it's Katsuki. He's gonna kill me. I have to go. I'm sorry. I made you come all the way out here for nothing, and now you have to go back. I'm sorry. Although Todoroki only put a hand up to stop her. It's alright. I'm sure he's just worried, especially after what happened today. You should be heading back anyways. I should be heading back anyways. Nodding her head, Amari sighed. Yeah, thanks again, Shoto. I don't know what I'd do without you. She started to turn away, when he grabbed her again, pushing her body into his roughly. Don't ever worry about bothering me. Just call whenever you need to, and I'll be there, alright? Nodding her head against his chest, Todoroki seemed satisfied, but not before kissing the top of her head softly. Good. See you. Then he let go and started walking away, causing Amari to stand there dumbfounded, now placing a hand where his lips once were as a hard blush appeared on her cheeks. He was so sneaky sometimes. Walking over to the pile of photographs on the table, the stranger couldn't help but stop, noticing one that caught his eye. He tried to focus on it as his annoying colleagues wouldn't stop talking behind him about unimportant topics. Picking up the photo, it looked to be a candid shot of Amari and Todoroki holding hands outside of a cafe. The stranger eyed this with intent. So this was Bakugo Amari. Interesting. Smirking at the display, Dabi couldn't help but want to meet this girl. Oh no. What do we not know? Okay, this is going to be posted that day. I want to get another recording in, but I'm probably not going to do that. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. I'll record 2 tomorrow, and then I'll be done recording for a while. So, yep, I'm going to have to end this here. This was longer than my last one. I thought it was going to turn into some, like, smut, some lemon, some whatever the hell you call it. And I was not enjoying the fact that I have to read it out loud, but also not upset with the idea, of the two of them. Yeah, doing that. I'd have to skip over it, though, because I don't think I could make myself read something like that out loud. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else I need to say. Check the writer out. Link will be in the description as usual. I want to know what we're missing. What do we not know? If you haven't read the manga, you're probably or watched the anime or any of it, you're probably super confused right now. Sucks to suck. That's really all I can say. I, for Christmas, got the manga edition and, sped read through it. That was fun. So I'm actually ahead of my friends, because not only do they suck at, continually watching stuff, but the anime also doesn't go as far as the manga books, and also misses a couple details. Not that much. Well, never mind. I'm not gonna bring that up right now, because I actually haven't watched the anime, but never mind, I'm rambling. I'm gonna end here. You will hear me in the next video. Bye-bye.